Hello and welcome into Ansible Deep Dive and Multi-Vendor Networking. This video course is provided to you by orhanergen.net. In this video, we're gonna start with the first playbook that we have in the Fortinet automation module. So the first one will be under the name of A251A, Get Global Settings. So the first Ansible collection module that you're gonna use is like this, having the configuration facts. So let's open up this documentation and see what we have inside it. You could follow up this link. You could just go here, click on the facts gathering module, or just click on the link that you have and you could see it. So I have three types of the facts that I can gather, which is the configuration facts, monitor facts, and log facts. In most of the cases, we're gonna consider the configuration facts. So in the configuration facts, you have multiple parameters that you must specify within your playbook. And there is here an example of a playbook that you could invoke within Ansible and do all the selection that you want. So the most important thing that you must invoke is the selector. The selector is like this. If you just grabbed all the if you just grab all the configuration facts that you want, it will happen just as Cisco. You will have all the facts within the device, and believe me, in the next generation firewall facts, you will have a ton of the facts. So it is not a good approach to gather all the facts. The best thing is to use the selector. So the selector parameter will allow you to gather only a specific type of fact. Basically, you're gonna go and grab whatever configuration that you need using this selector. So what if you want only the antivirus settings of the device? You could use this one. What if you want the email filter, or even the firewall address, or even the interfaces? So this is the best thing that you could do with a selector. And also it provided with a filter, sorter, and a formatter that we're gonna have look at in the next video or the next. So let's jump back into the playbook and see what we have. So the first thing that I did, give it a name. So get global settings. I'm targeting the device with the normal login one, not the API. So this is only like an HTTP API, nothing more, nothing less. You could specify it here, and you could specify it in the inventory. You could just type here local and it will get it from the inventory to like that the same. And of course, you're gonna specify the VDOM name. So basically, the VDOM, you could do it like in a string, or you could put it inside a variable. So I have specified it as a variable. So my VDOM is root, because I don't have any more VDOM, only one VDOM, which is root. If you have multiple VDOMs, please enter the VDOM name that you have instead of the root. And of course, I have multiple tasks. The first task is getting the global settings, that I'm using this one, Fortinet.FortiOS FortiOS configuration facts. And I'm using the selector of system global. I want to have the system configuration of the device. Register the result, printing the result. So let us run this playbook and see what we have. So Ansible playbook A241A, get global settings. Good. Expand the view. You will see that you have multiple facts gathered. As you can see here, those are the system settings of the device. So what if you want to parse the information that you have? By default, the FortiOS collection will give you multiple response. So the Ansible facts, the change, the field, the meta. Inside the meta, there is, the HTTP method information, which is the build, the HTTP method, get, the status, which is 200, the name, the path, the result part, and even if you scroll down, you'll see that there is a revision, serial number, status, VDOM, and version. So most of this information you're gonna not need. You're gonna need only the results part inside the meta. So we could parse it using, you know, the big famous one, the JSON query. So I'm gonna just comment this one and comment this one. So just to print the results using meta results. I have a typo here, just like this. Rerun the code. Expand the view. Now you're gonna see only the result part of what you have. So basically you're gonna always use this one, meta result. So whenever you see the meta result, you must know that we are only getting the result part of the returned message. Now, one last thing, what if we want to get the hostname of the device? As you recall, I always like to get the hostname of the device. Do you know why? Because it is the basic test at the first time you do automation to a device. So the basic key and value that you could get and verify, which is the configured hostname. So in the result part, I'm just parsing the .hostname. Yes, hostname is under system global. When you want to configure the hostname, you're going to configure it under system global. To verify, go back into, you know, the FortiGate, click on the system settings. Here is the host name and all other of the configuration that we had. Come on this one, rerun the code. I think now I must get the host name, and of course you could put it into a variable and that's it. So the host name is FGT firewall. Verify. Yes, it is FGT firewall. Let's go into the second part and see what is the access token. As I mentioned previously, you could access the firewall using two methods. The first one is a username and a password, the same that you're going to use with SSH, with HTTP, with the web UI, CLI login, username and a password. The second approach is using an access token. As you recall, we already configured it in the FortiGate itself, copy and paste it into the inventory file. So make sure that you have this one in your inventory file under the name of FortiOS access token. This is a variable. So the variable name will be FortiOS access token. So if we went back and see, I have this variable. So in every Ansible module, you're gonna see the parameter of access token. So like, let's go back to this. There is an access token, this module that we're gonna use. So maybe let's go back, go and select a different one. Maybe I'm gonna use the configuration module. Maybe just scroll down, click on anything, internet service name, and access token. So in each module, you could use the login type of the access token, not a username and a password. So this is one good approach of using the authentication type of access token. So in this time, it is not using a default username and a password. No, it is using it will use an access token. So how to configure this one? Basically, the first will be the same as you did. The selector, everything is the same. The only difference that you're gonna invoke an access token with the variable that you have created. So the variable is FortiOS access token, same as you invoked and configured inside the inventory file, FortiOS access token. So this is A241B. Just run the code. So Ansible playbook A251B access token. It will go authenticate using a token. Scroll up, same as you did, and got us the information. For the last playbook that we have, which is A251C set hostname Yes, finally we're gonna do some configuration. I'm gonna use the configuration module. How to do so? Just to click on the link that I always keep in the configuration in the playbook commented, and it will guide you into the module documentation site that I'm gonna use. So I'm using the Fortinet system global under the configuration module. As you can see, you could configure whatever configuration inside the system configuration. As you can see, there is a lot of configuration that you could do. As you can see, here it is, system global, all of this configuration that you may invoke using this module. But we're gonna not use all of those. We're gonna use only the host name. So we're gonna configure and change the host name only. So let's see. The start is the same. Task name is setting host name, Fortinet, FortiOS system global, the access token that we configured and tested, and of course don't forget the VDOM. In this case, yes, we're gonna specify the VDOM, which is root. Then we're gonna serve inside the system global setting, specifying the host name. So the host name will be OE firewall 01. Print the facts. So let's go back into the documentation. As you can see, it is the same. Here it is, the VDOM. Then you configure whatever configuration inside the system global dictionary. So this is a dictionary. Whatever key and value that you could invoke inside this, you could find it in the documentation. And of course, if you want a good description, you could find it here. So there are multiple compatibility metrics and a good description for each one. And of course, you must have a good background dealing with next generation firewall, especially FortiGate, to do all this kind of configuration in this module or any module. So run the playbook, Ansible playbook, A251C, set hostname. Changed, everything good. You want to verify, just rerun the first playbook that you have, which is A251 get global setting, parsing the hostname. So in this case, I think the hostname will be changed into OE firewall 1, changed. And if you want to verify, from the GUI itself, just go back into the GUI, do a refresh. As you can see, it is FGT firewall. Just do a refresh to the page. Require login again. Now it is changed OE firewall 01 in the system settings, OE firewall 1. So that's all for this video. See you in the next one.